Hello and welcome to the weekly reading. I have chosen some rollers, passion and cheer, to help us get into this festive season and for those people going on holiday to get the last of their things packed and organized, for those people already on holiday to hold those emotions. These are blends that help you to kind of stay in that state of being. I've brought in a lot of little jewelry crystals and the tree to help stay grounded, the elephant to keep plodding forward. And elephants also have a strong familial connection. They are very family oriented, and that is really a lot of what comes up this time of year. And remembering that when all of that sort of family stuff comes up, we often get linked into our old childhood patterning and dynamic. And I really feel like there's an opportunity, especially looking at this week's reading, there's an opportunity in this week for us to try out our new skills, try to be a grown-up even when we feel ourselves triggered into old patterns. So for this week, on Wednesday, we have Mercury, who is how we think, moving into Capricorn. So suddenly he's going to want to write the lists and get a little bit more organized and make plans. And we have the full moon late on the 7th, early on the 8th, depending where you are in the world. In South Africa, it's on the 8th. And then on Saturday or Sunday, I think it's Saturday, we have Venus moving into Capricorn just after Mercury, and she's bringing the value system and the love. And well, I mean, she kind of can bring a bit of passion and love and that sort of thing, but she brings it into Capricorn. She might get a little bit ordered and organized in that. So let's jump into the weekly reading. Remember to pick a card between the numbers of 1 and 4. That will be your theme number for the week. That'll be the strongest message for you. The whole reading becomes the weekly reading. It is a collective reading, not a personalized reading. And yet, because we are all really connected to one another, even though our individual experiences may differ, the undercurrent of our experience and of the themes is very similar. So remember to pick your number and let's jump right in. Here is our entire picture of the weekly reading, and we are going to hone in on our anchor card to start with. We've got a lot of upside downs this week. Remember that the upside down versions highlight that energy and sometimes show where there is a blockage to that energy. So when we see it upside down, we start thinking about how can I turn that around? And actually, some of the cards are a little easier to deal with upside down. Not this week, however. So this first one, the 9 of Cups, and I'm actually just going to turn it around and show it to you the right way up. The 9 of Cups is actually a lovely lucky card. Remember that Cups is water. It is our energy of our emotional flow and connection. So this is like everything is you found the treasure, all your dreams are coming to fruition, all is well. And she's actually rising up from under the water, but it's golden in there, like the sunshine, like the treasures. All the cups are facing the right way and all is well. When we see it upside down, it can be to do with delayed gratification or being greedy and not considering other people, wanting to have your cake and eat it, which is really such a silly saying, because surely who would have cake if they didn't want to eat it? But anyway, I digress. So this is showing me there may be many of us coming into this holiday season wishing we had more, or wishing we had completed something, or that there was more abundance, or that there was more, or in some ways, because it's upside down, I feel like there might always even be that there was more to show off. That when we move into those family situations, we could say, oh, look what I've accomplished, or look what I've achieved, or look what I've bought you. And that instead, that's not going to happen, but that's part of our lesson. And I think that's a very clear example of where it's part of the collective lesson. We are such a consumeristic society wherever in the world we live as humans. And it's about starting to turn that around and going, let me be grateful for what I have and not feel so consumed by what I don't have and what others in my family and friends will think about what I'm not bringing to the table. Let's talk about what I do bring to the table. So I think that's actually, even though it's upside down, I feel like it's a really important theme for us all to tap into in the current climate of the world and the new earth that we are birthing. Then the Strength card is number 8, and it's interesting because we've also got number 7 here with the Chariot. And those are major arcana cards, so those are the bigger themes, and those normally will also show a much more collective experience or an outside of yourself experience, less control. So we can control how we deal with this 9 of Cups much more. We can say, okay, yes, I feel that feeling of I wish I'd gotten that extra bonus or whatever it was so that I could spend more money on Christmas gifts or show my friends and family that I am doing so well or whatever it is. How do I change my feelings around that? Whereas when it comes to the major arcana cards, it's not as easy. They're bigger themes. So I love the Strength card. The Strength card, I mean, you can see there's that lion kind of energy, and it does link to the sign of Leo in many ways. So if you are a Leo or Leo moon, Leo rising, Leo anything really, this will resonate even more strongly for you. And you can see Leo rules the heart, and here we've got the heart necklace hanging down. But there's that strength, courage, all the things that are a lion, fierceness. And then there is the lamb. There is also the vulnerability. There is also the softness, the caring for the vulnerable part of yourself. And in this image, she's half a woman and half a lion face. And it is that being able to tap into, where am I soft and vulnerable and exposed and pure? She's wearing this white dress. And where am I fierce and feisty? And then you can see the infinity symbol tattoo on her arm as well. And that really is bringing the left brain, right brain, the yin, the yang, being strong. And actually, I mean, this happens to also be a male lion face. So it's also bringing in the masculine in some ways. Of course, there are female lions and they're also wonderful. But here you can see it balancing the sort of male king of the beasts with the gentle maiden in a way. And if this is upside down, it's like, where are we feeling fearful? Because this is a card that is very much about courage, but courage in spite of vulnerability and fear. When it's upside down, we might be letting our fears get the better of us and not stepping into the courageous spaces, because it's that feel the fear, do it anyway, which I feel like is a statement coming up in so many of my videos right now. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Upside down, we're feeling the fear, but we maybe don't want to do it anyway. And you could also look at our first card. Maybe we're feeling like we can't show the people in our lives the success as we saw it, as we see it, that we want to. Therefore, we kind of get stuck in this, I don't want them to see that makes me vulnerable. And the message here seems to be like, get vulnerable. Get vulnerable. Take off the breastplate. Get vulnerable with the people in your life. And you'll probably be surprised to find that they're feeling exactly the same way. So instead of judging you, they will understand and maybe share their own stuff. If they don't, if they keep armored up, that's just a journey that they're on, and that's not your business. You just do you. So then we've got the 10 of Pentacles, our only right way up card. And this is like, yes, but that's the Happy Families card. That's where everything you need comes to you. Pentacles is earth. Pentacles is money, abundance, finances oftentimes, but also projects fulfilled, being able to materialize your wealth and abundance. So I really feel like this is saying, and if you change your perspective, you will see that you have everything you need. You have food on the table, even if that food on the table is a little bit less extravagant or abundant as it was last year, for example. It's still food on the table, and it's who's sitting at the table with you that makes the most difference. And it's about how you feel about it. So you might be looking at the feast before you and see it as a feast, or you might be looking at the feast before you and see it as a famine. That's about perspective. So for me, this card, especially following the 9 of Cups and the Strength card upside down, is saying you can change. Because remember, this is a minor arcana again, which means you get to choose. You get to decide how you handle the things that are your fears, the places you're feeling lack, which is speaking to us in those first 2 cards. You get to decide. And then our last card, which is a step backwards from the 8 card in terms of the journey of the major arcana, because each of them from 0 to 21 is like a stepping stone in a fool's journey becoming a hero. Start the fool and kind of end the hero, ideally. But as most of us by this point know, that Healing doesn't happen in a straight line. So I quite like that it's like stepping backwards. And also that this card is upside down is also speaking into the slowing down, because Chariot is a very fast moving card in its upright form. There's usually two horses in a chariot, and you can see this one is black and one is white. So again, we have that feeling of balancing the masculine and feminine aspects, the shadow and the light aspects. And when I say shadow and light, I want you to recognize that shadow is not bad. We might look at shadow as the feminine by that token, because it's the night time when the moon comes out and she's more feminine, and light as the daytime when the sun comes out, which is more masculine. But that's within each of us, we have masculine and feminine. It doesn't matter. It's not about gender. It's about energy. And we don't want to look at shadow time, nighttime, as being bad, because we need the night. We need the night to rest. We need the night to grow. We need the night for that creativity. We need the day too. So it's just a reminder that shadow isn't a bad thing. Shadow is just the darker time, the inward time, the cocoon. So as I say, upright, this is a really fast forward momentum kind of card, and it's quite Sagittarian, and we're in Sagittarius season, or even Gemini, the two sides, and we're having the Gemini full moon this week opposite the sun in Sagittarius. But it's going, hang on, I know Sag Gemini energy wants to race forward into the festivities, wants to get a little carried away, overindulge, burn the candle at both ends, just keep going too fast, too far. I actually love that this card for this week, all things considered, is upside down, because it's saying to us, just be in the moment. Sit at the table with the family, sit around the pool. Well, that's in South Africa when it's really sunny. Obviously, if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, not so much. Around the fire there. Wherever you're sitting, sit still, be present. And just enjoy the space, the time, and observe yourself. So I'm coming back to what I said earlier in the reading about how we may easily be triggered by situations in our life that are, when you're growing and evolving and just maturing, you drop a lot of your patterning. But then when you go back to be with family and friends, it's like suddenly the sibling rivalry may flare up again, or that thing that irritated you as a teenager with your mother or father suddenly flares up again. Those are the things that I really want you to keep an eye on yourself, and you need to slow down and watch them, because if you're going too fast, you just get triggered. And think about a trigger. It happens quickly. If you're in a slower mode and you're sitting around the table, you might actually enjoy watching how other people in your family are getting triggered, and you're able to hold yourself outside of that and not buy in to the old patterning. So there is a lot this week that could be challenging. We do have two personal planets changing sign and a big full moon. So it's going to be a lot of feels. But it's a reminder that if you just recognize the fear, recognize the vulnerability, recognize the feelings of lack, and then change your perspective. If you recognize the triggers, even if you were pulled into a pattern and a trigger, and then you recognize it when you're already in, even that is recognizing it. Then you slow down, then you sit still, then you observe. So this week might be a little bit challenging at points, but I feel like it's giving us an opportunity to test our mettle and to practice our new skills. All those skills we've been developing, it's easy to do them when it's easy. It's in the challenging points where we really get to see if we have integrated, and we need to practice. Any new skill needs practice. So I'm sending you lots of love on this week ahead. And remember, I am available for private readings. Might be a nice gift voucher idea for somebody in your life. That is card readings, astrology readings, or even healing sessions, which I do online as well as in person. So don't forget to get in touch. All my information is in the link below.